Try this matchup. Low prices and faster checkout. You can count on it at Fry's.
Welcome to the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. I'm Daniel Berk, joined by reporter Bruce Pascoe, and we're here in the Star Newsroom. And Bruce, even though the Arizona Wildcats season is over, there's still plenty to talk about, and you're working on a story for this weekend about the different draft prospects the Arizona Wildcats have, and I know you've delved into that a little bit. You talked to the Jonathan Givony from DraftExpress.com about Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, Aaron Gordon, Nick Johnson, and Caleb Tarczewski. What did he have to say about each of those guys, and what does he think the best course of action for those guys is?
Well, he's got Aaron Gordon pretty high. He's got him projected number 8 overall, and I think that's, kind of no surprise that he's expected to leave. We've all seen why. I mean, he certainly can work on his shooting, but he does everything else so well, and he has an unbelievable motor. I think that's what they like about him, and just his athleticism and especially his defense. That's what I've been hearing. And then, Jonathan was also really high on Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, and a lot of people think he's got a lot of work to do and should come back, and certainly he can improve if he comes back, but he might be the second biggest prospect on this team right now because of his upside. It's really something. I mean, I think they have him, Draft Express has him, 14 or 15 projected mid-lottery or late lottery in 2015. But if he came out this year, Jonathan told me he thought he could sneak into the first round because he's got that much upside. He just can't shoot really well. That's the one thing. But the way he plays defense particularly is really intriguing, guys, about that. And then as far as Nick Johnson, I think he's pretty well known to everybody, and I think Jonathan Givony's big concern there was, where does he play? What's his position? He's a little bit small for point guard. He's not really playing point guard because they've got T.J. McConnell now, but he does a lot of things well. He's a pretty good defender, and he's gonna fly out of the NBA combine if he ever gets there. I mean, he's gonna really blow some people away with his athleticism. So, based on that, he could still go. Whether it's this year or next year, it's just a matter of whether he wants to come back, and be a college player for another year. But I don't know that his stock would change a whole lot either way. And I'm hearing, and Jonathan said he's hearing too, that they expect him to leave. So you figure he's going to go, and then the other guys, Caleb Tarczewski,
right,
and Givony seemed to think that he was probably looking at making it the NBA, but it's not necessarily going to help him this year. He's still got some things to work on too. I think he's expecting him to stay. I think most of us are. Yeah. He'll be a guy that, because of his size and athleticism, that he can make it. But the question is, what is his upside? How good of an NBA player will he be? And if he sticks around, we'll get a better feel for that next year too.
And what are the dates Arizona fans should know about when to declare, when the final drop dead date is? When can we expect to start hearing some announcements, and what should people look out for?
Yeah,
here?
It's crazy because every year it seems like it's different, and in the recent years they've really tightened it up on how quickly, because the coaches have lobbied, the college coaches have lobbied, hey, we want to know so we can plan our rosters and our spring recruiting. So they pushed for what's now a April 15th withdrawal deadline, which means if you declare and then you want to withdraw and come back, you've got to do it by April 15th, which obviously doesn't leave you a whole lot of time. Yeah. But there's an NBA deadline to enter the draft is April 27th, and so if you don't declare, keep it quiet, and are still thinking about it, you can wait until April 27th, pull your name out of the hat and say, hey, I'm going. And so that's the real deadline that everyone needs to worry about. But I think in the case of U of A, I think Sean Miller and the staff, and they're working with the guys, I think they're going to try and get it probably completed before then. I would think by the middle of this month, we should have a pretty good idea what's going on. It's possible one may trickle closer to the 27th, but I would think within the next couple of weeks.
We're talking to Bruce Pascoe, and this is the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. And Bruce, you spent some time in Chicago this week covering the McDonald's All-American game, and you talked to Stanley Johnson a couple times. And that man has a busy schedule coming up, a lot going on. Give us the details on that and how it was talking to him and what's next for him.
Yeah, he's something else. I mean, he came in, he won a state title on Sacramento on Saturday night. He was up till about 2 in the morning, 3:30, woke up, got out of his hotel room, came out to the McDonald's, went to practice for 3 days, played that game. Actually did a pretty good job in that game. Had a couple 18-footers and a couple dunks, got an alley-oop there that got the fans going. And he's going to go right into it. They don't get to play in the high school tournament that's going on right now on ESPN because the California rules wouldn't let him. But that modern day team could be national championship if they were allowed to. It's something else. So that's actually good in a way because he gets his weekend off, and then next weekend he goes to the Hoop Summit which is a team of USA basketball all-stars against a collection of international players up in Portland on the 12th. And then a week after that, he got the Jordan Brand Classic, which is sort of the second, in my mind, sort of the second tier, the high school all-star games. And, a lot of the guys are excited about that.
And Bruce, just finally, we'll get you out of here on this. There's still a couple games to be played, even though Arizona's season's over. The Final Four begins tomorrow night. Kentucky and Wisconsin and Florida and UConn. Just quickly, you've watched a ton of basketball this year. You've seen Wisconsin up close last weekend. Quick thoughts on the Final Four and kind of how you maybe see this weekend shaking out?
Yeah, the question for me is just how does Kentucky deal with Frank Kaminsky any better than Arizona did? And they certainly got guys that can maybe chase him out the three-point line. They've got the one key big guy hurt. And there's some question of Macaulay Smith if he's coming back, but that's a key there. And then I like Florida a lot too. Just their balance, their defense, their experience, their confidence, the way they're playing now. It's hard to see them going down.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Arizona Wildcats Video Extra, brought to you by Fry's Food Stores. For Bruce Pascoe, I'm Daniel Berk, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.